This is Jeff Durkin with We Are Change CT. I just want to give you guys an update about a breaking news story that just came out in Connecticut State Supreme Court, that the case involving Cassandra, the 17-year-old young girl, teenager, involved in this interesting case that's been going on about where you might have heard about it, where she was diagnosed with cancer and then she refused chemotherapy treatment, and then she was arrested by the DCF and then eventually put into custody of the DCF and having forced chemotherapy treatments. Now, before we go into what happened with today's case in the courtroom, what happened, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get in the courtroom as much as I wanted to cover it so much today. I wasn't able to make it inside the courtroom because of multiple addresses and locations that were given out before the hearing took place, and I was bouncing around through different locations and wasn't able to find the exact one where the courtroom was taking place. As much as I want to be in the courtroom, I have to give credence to the mainstream media and give them the credit where credit is due, because regardless of much as we flack on the mainstream media sometimes they do cover cases that are very important. For example, would be this case involving the Cassandra, the young woman there. Now, as a background, she was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in September in 2014, and after 3 weeks of receiving chemotherapy, she decided to not refuse the treatment, to not have any more chemotherapy. And in turn, the DCF stepped in, Department of Children and Families, when she ended up running away from her home because of the treatment that she was getting, and she refused to get any more of the chemotherapy. The DCF decided to step in and take her into custody. And then after that, the judge allowed DCF to retain her into custody and have forced chemotherapy treatments. Now, Cassandra's attorneys argued originally, not just at today's hearing, but also previous hearings, that the state shouldn't be able to substitute its judgment for her judgment, basically saying that the state shouldn't have the decision to make such an impact, and much of its impact is this, on someone's body. It shouldn't be reserved to other people. It should be reserved to Cassandra herself, not to the state. Now, the state is arguing basically that it's sort of a we know best mentality, basically saying that we know what's best for Cassandra, so she has to take the chemotherapy, regardless if she says repeatedly that she didn't want the chemotherapy. She made a decision of her choice, and her mother actually supported it, to not receive any more chemotherapy. Now, the local Fox reporter that covered the hearing today gave a short recap of some of the tweets that he posted there, basically saying that each side had 30 minutes to argue. Cassandra's attorneys basically argued that the mature minor doctrine, which is used basically as a saying that she's a mature, even though she's not an adult, under 17 years old, she's under 18 years old, that she has the logical capacity to make a decision on her own with what she wants to do with her body, what she wants put in her own body. And the state decided basically that she's ignorant of the facts about chemotherapy and how it could be used to save her life as a life-saving treatment. This is on the state's argument side, the DCF side. Basically, we know's best argument, as I mentioned before, that the state has decided that they could take control of what she decides, of what they decide to put into her body, even though Cassandra has the ultimate decision on that, because it's her body. It shouldn't be reserved to somebody else, not even the government or even a person in general. So what this case happened was a 7-judge panel that decided it today, where that she will remain in DCF custody for the time being and receiving forced chemotherapy treatments against her wishes, against her will, basically. Now, when this story came out, it was almost hard to believe what happened, or the idea that it could happen, but it can happen. This reserves huge implications for future cases. This sets a huge precedent, basically saying that when you're sick and that you decide to not do a treatment, whether it's chemotherapy or anything else, that the state has the power to overrule your decision of what you want to do with your own body, saying that the state knows best, that we know best to treat your body, regardless of the fact whether chemotherapy is bad or not. The point is that it shouldn't be reserved to a governing body, the state. It should be reserved to a particular individual, that individual, which is Cassandra, which I'm mentioning here, that she has the right to do that. And the state's argument was that she's under 18, she's 17 years old, she doesn't have the maturity level or the decision making to make that such an important decision. But it looks like, based on this, that her mother, Jackie Fortin, has supported her daughter throughout all this, saying that she knows how bad the effects of chemotherapy are, and she is siding with her daughter. And the state is trying to put a wedge into that, saying that no, the state knows best and that we can make the right decisions for Cassandra. Consequences be damned, regardless of what happens later on with her treatment. But for now, that she's been still remaining in custody at DCF, receiving forced chemotherapy treatments. And it's very interesting implications because of this that really shows where the government's power goes all the way to the aspects of your health, of what you can do with your own body to make your own decision as a human being, as an individual, saying that no, the state has the right to do that. The state knows what's better for you. So this has wider implications for that. Again, we'll be following this story. We will continue to follow the story as best as we can. But for any updates, you could check out our YouTube channel and subscribe. You can see the link below for that, and also more videos coming soon.
It's the right thing to do, and fuck the pharmaceutical companies and fuck the government, and this is how we're helping people who are in our community, and we will overgrow them eventually.
Saying you have to take what you like, what will be beneficial to your life, from the people that you look up to and respect. Take those things, adapt them to your lifestyle in a way that will work in the life that you live.